Hello and welcome to our video on asylum in the United States. My name is Mike Meyer. I'm an attorney in Washington, D.C. The United States has a long history of offering relief to people fleeing persecution in other countries. However, this area of U.S. immigration law is quite complicated and is often applied inconsistently in different parts of the country. What follows is a basic outline of U.S. asylum law. Asylum is a very tricky area. As someone from a different country, I strongly advise you to have an immigration attorney assist you in this process. This will dramatically increase the chances of success of your asylum application. The United States grants asylum to people who are considered refugees. A refugee is someone outside of his or her country of nationality who is unable or unwilling to return to his or her home country. He or she must be afraid of persecution or must have a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. The persecution must be done by a government or by persons or organizations of the government, or persons or organizations that the government is unwilling or unable to control. You can apply to be admitted as a refugee outside the United States, as an overseas refugee, or at the US border, or inside the United States as an asylee. Very important, do not apply for asylum at the border if you can avoid it, such as the airport, since the Immigration Service can detain you until a judge can see you, and you do not have anybody to assist you while you are detained, and you may be in jail with common criminals. You should consult an immigration attorney first. Generally, if you are inside the United States, you must apply for asylum using Form I-589, Form I-589, within 1 year of arrival. In exceptional cases, you can apply later than 1 year. You can apply even if you are illegal in the United States or if you have been convicted of certain crimes, such as political crimes. Please see our separate video on crimes that interfere with visa and immigration matters. There is a waiver form, I-602, for that. I-602 for a refugee who has been found inadmissible to the United States for reasons such as a felony, conviction, or health conditions, and who can apply for a waiver of such inadmissibility on grounds of humanitarian reasons, family unity, or national interest. When you apply for asylum, you will be interviewed by an asylum officer who will determine if you are eligible. You may also apply for asylum before an immigration judge. You have to be able to show either that you were persecuted in the past or have a well-founded fear of future persecution on the basis of one of the protected grounds, such as race and religion. It is not enough to show simply that you have suffered or fear persecution. You must prove that a major reason for the persecution was one of the protected grounds, such as race or religion. If you're claiming past persecution, think about the following questions. Number 1, what happened? Number 2, when the harm or mistreatment or threats occurred. Number 3, who caused the harm or mistreatment or threats? And 4, why do you believe that the harm or mistreatment or threats occurred? If you claim that you fear future persecution, think about these questions. 1, what harm or mistreatment you fear? 2, who you believe would harm or mistreat you? 3, why you believe you would or could be harmed or mistreated. It helps to have as much supporting evidence as possible. You should provide evidence about the general conditions of your home country. You should also provide evidence about your particular situation. Here are some examples of evidence that you may wish to provide. Newspaper articles, maybe even newspaper articles that mention you. Affidavits of witnesses or experts about the persecution or threats that you have received. Medical or psychological records. Maybe you were treated for injuries that you received when you were tortured. Doctor's statements. Journals that you have maintained. Books that mention the torture or mistreatment. photographs of the injuries that you suffered, any kind of official documents, arrest documents, warrants, and personal statements or live testimony from witnesses. The evidence you provide should be particular to your case. For example, maybe you received written threats, or maybe there are statements about your particular case in publications, in newspapers, online, in online blogs. General information on your home country can be helpful. The United States Department of State has country reports as to human rights. They are available on the website of the U.S. Department of State. Other organizations such as Amnesty International may have general information about your particular country. Here's a summary of the procedure to apply for asylum. Once again, you apply on Form I-589, which is available on the website of the Immigration Service. Once you've applied, USCIS, the Immigration Service, will schedule fingerprints. Then there will be an interview at the asylum office. If your case is approved by the asylum officer, you will go to the next step, which is filing the adjustment of status, the I-485. If your case does not go well, it may be denied or referred to an immigration judge. You definitely need the assistance of an immigration attorney in such a case. But note that there are also other remedies before an immigration judge. If you are before an immigration judge, you may also have other remedies, such as under the Convention Against Torture, if there is a risk of you being tortured if you are returned to your home country. There is something that's called withholding of removal. Basically, you are allowed to stay by the judge. And there's also something called a voluntary departure, setting a certain departure date for you on which you will depart voluntarily. When you apply for asylum, you can also include your spouse and unmarried children under 21 at the time of your application, even if they have not faced the same persecution you have. You should be ready to provide a marriage certificate and birth certificates for your children. If you are granted asylum, you will be able to get a green card in the United States. That is done, as I mentioned, by filing for the next step, the I-485 adjustment of status. If you apply for asylum and have not gotten a decision on your application for 150 days, you can apply to get at least a work permit. Once again, this is a very tricky area of the law. If you have any questions, if you're considering applying for asylum, please consult an immigration attorney. Thank you.